Welcome to a windy Mallow GAA complex for this Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final. It is UCD, the champions, against St Mary's University College Belfast, who beat them 2 years ago, and UCD still maybe smarting from that one. Let's have a look at the teams. Well, for UCD, they've got some considerable talent in the forward line, including Luke Fortune, the Cavan man who got a wonderful goal against DCU, Dócha Sharon. Evan O'Carroll of Laois is at full forward, and he can win his own ball and break past defenders. Conor Myler was playing for St Mary's 2 years ago when they beat UCD in this competition in the final, and Conor Callahan, well, I don't think I need to say anything more about him. Liam Silk is out for obvious reasons. Peter Healy and Mike Breen come in because Martin O'Connor from Wexford misses out due to injury. Daniel Goulding, a winner of this competition with CIT in 2009 and a winner of the All-Ireland with Cork a year later. That is some lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, exceptionally strong team. Just talent all over the pitch.
And we'll pause for the anthem. You could see how strong the wind was when we saw the shot of that flag. Let's have a look at this St Mary's team. Not as many household names, but still a very solid unit. Jarlath Oak Burns, we know the damage he can do from midfield.
Look, I think with St Mary's, you know what you're going to get. A really organised, well-balanced, hard-working team that are going to be very well drilled.
So here we go. It's the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final one. The second one on tomorrow back here in Mallow. The pitch in absolutely perfect condition because it's sand-based and it's just a really good surface. We've seen a couple of games today and they've all flown by.
Yeah, look, it's just interesting. I suppose the wind is going to play a huge factor here, and it's going to be very interesting to see how both teams set up. I don't think the television does it justice how strong the wind really is here. It's blowing straight down the pitch from left to right.
We're about to get underway. This is an absolutely huge encounter. That breeze is so strong. And if we disappear at any stage, it's because we've been blown away. We'll be on our way to Oz. Ball in, game on. And claiming it first up is Jarlath Oak Burns. We talked about him before the game. You just got a little glimpse as to why there. Devlin ran onto it there, the down man. Jarlath Oak looking for a route through, then pop back to McKinney. So much young talent on the St Mary's team that you're going to hear so much about in the next couple of years. McConville inside. Here's Liam Devlin. He laid it off well. McConville getting his hands on it again. St Mary's have to make hay in this first half. They have to use that breeze, but the move breaks down, and here's Cillian O'Shea, a Dublin County title winner with Kilmacud Crokes last season, stroke this season. Centre forward Shane McGuigan gets his hands on it, moves it out wide to Boyle. UCD dropping numbers back, 13 behind the ball. Burns gives it to the wing back Duffy. Patience is going to be so key in this game, Daniel, isn't it?
Absolutely. You can see after we're a minute into the game, UCD have 13 men behind the ball, only Conor Callan and Evan Carroll inside. And I suppose it's going to be a containing game for UCD at the moment with that strong wind that they're playing against.
Peter Healy broke it down really well there, gave it to Brian Byrne of Kildare, and out they come through Mark Dempsey, another Kildare man. UCD so comfortable on the ball. They're a talented bunch, but they don't play like a bunch of prima donnas. They play like a team. It's exactly what John Divley is looking for. It's exactly what he's got over the last couple of years. Winners of the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup last year, finalists the year before, as the wind picks up and it was already strong enough. Conor McCarthy tries to run onto this one, the Monaghan man. Dinked back to wing forward Luke Fortune. Myler. Cian O'Connor. O'Connor assessing the options, goes backwards rather than forwards. It's Mike Breen. What a couple of weeks he's had it. All-Ireland Junior Club winner with Beaufort last week. They really gave Eastkey a bit of a hammering in that final. Here's Darren Gavin, who has featured for the Dubs in recent games, including last Saturday in Tralee. Gavin goes the direct route. Found that it was blocked, so recycles to Conor McCarthy. That's quite the run from McCarthy. McCarthy gets ambushed and turned over. That's really good work from St Mary's. Dan, that's exactly what they're good at. You spoke about that and we know why now.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think 13 men behind the ball as well for them, but look, very disciplined tackling, never dived in, and look, got the turnover in the end. Look, I think playing against the wind for UCD, the scoring zone is probably 13 yards out. That's how strong the wind is.
Ryan McSherry is a late addition to the St Mary's team. He's, I think, replaced Ryan McCusker. I don't see him out there. Moved on here by Shane McGuigan. Wing-back Colin Byrne. Trying to jinx through his Liam Rafferty. We know he likes to kick long-range points. We know he loves to move up the park, but that's what this UCD team love to do as well. Here's Mike Breen, moves it to Gavin. He's so tall and rangy. His dad won an All-Ireland with Galway with the UCD coach John Divley in 1998. He's won a good free there, but in these conditions, Daniel, I don't think they're going to be able to go for it.
No, exactly. Look, it's going to be St Mary's 13 men behind the ball again now, and I'd say just patience from UCD to try and carve an opening up.
This will probably be low scoring, but we thought that about the last game as well. Letterkenny IT and Dundalk IT, and it ended up something like 15 points to 2-7. A late burst by Letterkenny IT, managed by Michael Murphy, and they looked a bit Jim McGuinness in their approach to it, didn't they, in the last 5 minutes or so? I know you caught the end of that game, Daniel.
Yeah, absolutely. I landed in for the last 5 minutes. I saw the 4 winning points of the game. Look, so it was a very exciting finish to the game. I think it was the first time they led.
That's right. Carroll goes backwards. It tells you everything you need to know about the conditions and how strong the breeze against his face is. Killian O'Shea. Peter Healy. Another man who featured heavily for his club in the last couple of weeks. They got to an All-Ireland final but didn't win it. Here's Healy again. Healy, will he squeeze one from that angle? It's more of a pass than a shot in the end. It's a bit of nothing. Niall Toner is back there to take it, the Derry man. Toner goes backwards. McKinney. Rooney. Jogging forward with it is Stephen McConville. Juggled back out to Jarlath Oak Burns. Son of Jarlath Burns, of course. Former Armagh player, captained Armagh to an Ulster title. Commentator and GA analyst of note. Colin Byrne. Aaron Boyle. Duffy. McGuigan. Five minutes gone, still no score, but that is not the fault of the teams. The conditions are very much a dominant factor here. That's a booming ball. Keeper has to be careful, and is Tommy O'Brien, solid behind the strike from Jarlath Oak Burns. I'm not sure whether he was trying to drop it in or boom one over. Either way, it didn't work out.
I think he was going for the shot, all right. Look, just you probably can't see off the screen, but UCD are playing with nearly 3 sweepers here as well. Look, so very hard to break down, and I think St Mary's are going to have to try a couple of these shots from 45 yards out, but you prefer if it went dead.
Barry McGinn. Darren Gavin. We spoke about Barry McGinn before this game and how if Monaghan are going to progress, he's going to be one of the driving forces of that. Darren Gavin is progressing nicely here. Is this the first score of the game? It's off the boot of Barry McGinn. And the breeze caught it. And it doesn't even go dead.
Look, this wind is very strong. That ball from where we were looked like it was sailing over and didn't even go wide.
I called it a breeze. I think that's not doing it justice. It is a gale.
A gale, I think, yeah.
Breen plays the 1-2 with Cian O'Connor. That cannons off the wing forward. Conor Myler, who couldn't quite control it. Toner moves it down the line. Good take by Colin Byrne.
I think what's interesting here now, St Mary's have turned over the ball, yet they've no one inside their 45 when they're attacking.
McConville. Colin Byrne. Running through was Jarlath Oak Burns. Didn't come to him though. It's Aaron Duffy. It's a long ranger, and he doesn't catch it well at all.
Yeah, look, I suppose it's very hard to not be kind of aggressive here and have a shot when there's nothing in front of you to pass it to. So look, I suppose UCD will be happy with their start. I suppose against this win they haven't conceded yet. There's nearly 8 minutes gone.
James Birmingham is our referee today as Conor Myler comes forward. Trying to wrestle his way out of it there is Stephen Cohen. Primarily known as a defender in Mayo, but he's done well at midfield for UCD, and that could be his future position, because that is an area where people say Mayo need a bit of something different maybe.
I think he was captain last year as well. Very good player, and I suppose last year even he's starting to make a name for himself as well with Mayo. Very good player.
Cut out by Stephen McConville. Jarlath Oak Burns. McSherry again. He's got an option outside. That's Duffy. Duffy with that cushioned ball, well taken out in front. Trying to turn is McGuigan. Can he draw this one in? And it's wide. Daniel, as a man who kind of did the take and turn an awful lot in your career, how difficult is it in these conditions to try and apply the finish you need?
Look, I suppose it's at the start of the game anyway, it's very hard to judge this wind. I suppose once you get the correct line, the wind will do the business, but he's kicking under pressure as well. He'd a man on him, so look, St Mary's are going to have to capitalise on a couple of these shots with this wind.
Luke Fortune tries to get under it, as does Darren Gavin. It's helped on. There's options and runners there for Killian O'Shea if he wants to go with them. They're backing off him all the time, St Mary's. Not very wise to invite UCD into your territory. Ball pops out from McGinn. Rescues it again, making a run for him is Myler. It's a very good take and turn and run. He thought about the shot temporarily, Conor Myler, then realised the conditions. Drops it inside. And again, just ran out of options, Daniel.
Yeah, look, I think kick passing anything over 20 yards in these conditions, probably it's going to end up in a turnover. I think UCD have been good at being patient and should probably stick with doing that.
Jarlath Oak Burns. Aaron Boyle. Moved on now by Colin Byrne. Or I beg your pardon, that's not Colin Byrne, that's McKinney. Boyle wide. McConville looking and seeing what's there. He's going to go for it. Are we going to get our first point of the game? Yes, we are. McConville, what a point that was.
Super score. Look, took the ball in just into the 45, just sent it on its way and the wind did the rest. Super score, and look, St Mary's are going to need a lot more of that. With this win, they need to capitalise on it.
It has taken 10 minutes, but that score was worth the wait, wasn't it?
Absolutely, super score. Just a bit of composure, and didn't need to go through the ball, just sent it up on its way.
And they've won possession. Here's Jarlath Oak Burns. Recycles it to his corner forward, Niall Toner. Duffy puts the boot down. It's a good pass, trying to cut through his Niall Toner. Toner does well. Off it goes. There's another point on the way from Ryan Coleman. Yes, it is. Good score from Coleman. 2 in a minute.
Super score again. Look, I think it was McKinney that made the initial break, and he just popped it out then, and Ryan Coleman did the rest. Look, I suppose St Mary's need to probe that UCD defence. UCD have a lot of men back, but there is gaps there, and they need to really probe it.
And now St Mary's have a man down. Well, it's not just windy out there, it's also cold, so no one will welcome these stoppages.
Yeah, it seemed to be an off-the-ball incident there, but I suppose going back to it, you mightn't see it on the TV screens, but UCD literally have 3 or 4 men free in front of their full back line. So what St Mary's are doing to counteract that is actually bringing their full forward line out past that. So at some point you have no one within UCD's goal and 30 yards of the goal.
It's Michael Rooney who went down there, the down man. Not sure if the referee, James Birmingham, will be able to take action. Not sure if his assistant saw anything. If something did happen and they were trying to get his attention, he mightn't have heard them because his earpiece has fallen out, which can happen to the best of us. And I'm not just covering for myself because of what happened on Tuesday night when my earpiece fell out at the end of the game. In the frantic celebrations of UCC having beaten DCU Dokasharan in the Electric Ireland Fitzgibbon Cup semi-final, what a dramatic encounter it was. It wasn't bad on Thursday in Ennis either. You'll be able to see highlights of both of those games at half-time. Going to ground there was Liam Devlin, and he's won the free in, but it's from a very tight angle, and it's particularly tight in this breeze.
You see again there the difficulty Tommy O'Brien is having kicking out the ball even against this wind. I think that ball might have went 20-25 yards. Good scoring opportunity here now for St Mary's.
Yep, and it's Stephen McConville who's already got a good one from play. They will need to build up a lead because that gale is very, very strong. Can McConville sail this between the posts? He has to kind of hang it up and hope it goes through. Oh, he flies that one like a kite. That's a perfect strike from Stephen McConville. His second, St Mary's third.
Super score. Look, I suppose just aim for the back post and put it on its way. Super score. See now St Mary's again pressing the UCD kick out. Everyone push up on their man.
Kicking against the strong breeze is such a nightmare for a goalkeeper. There's a good story about it actually in John Leonard's book, Dub Sub Confidential, and he hangs on to the ball for too long there. It is Luke Fortune, and he's given away the free.
Yeah, look, again, it's the kick-outs causing the problem, and that's no fault of the keeper, but with conditions the way they are, I don't think he can do much more. There's nothing on short, so he has to go as long as he can.
I hope you have a good memory, Daniel, because our notes are going to blow away. We just have to accept that. So it's McCalvin looking for his third. And this would represent a very good start by St Mary's College Belfast. Kicked the last one well. Kicks this one just as good. 3 points to no score. St Mary's lead. 4 points to no score, I beg your pardon. UCD have won it back. Killian O'Shea. And they've won the free out. That's a bit of a break. Evan O'Carroll working so hard, as he has done throughout this competition. He must be absolutely key to John Shugrew's plans and leash. And it's another free. UCD really have to watch their discipline here.
Look, I think St Mary's are working extremely hard all over the pitch. Men being tracked everywhere. UCD kind of can't really penetrate them at the moment. I think we have a black card there as well for Mike Breen. Yep,
confirmed black card for Mike Breen, the Kerry man. Heading off just 15 minutes into the game. Not ideal for him. He was a late inclusion in the team for Liam Silk. Now the question is, who are they going to replace him with? It's not like they're short on options, to be fair. They're going to replace him with Barry Dan O'Sullivan from Kerry. Not a bad replacement to be able to bring in. So one Kerry man goes off, one comes on. That's a good ball to the full forward who takes it at pace, Coleman. Now it's popped back to Byrne. Try and work it to McConville, but McConville didn't have the space. Now it's Jarlath O'Burns. He pops it up, looks for the 1-2, doesn't come to him, goes to the hands of McSherry. Rafferty, we spoke about him as a long-range shooter, and now you're seeing why. That is a really, really fine score.
That's a super score. Look, unbelievably patient from St Mary's. Great work from McConville and also Coleman, and brought it back out to the middle of the 45 and set up the scoring opportunity. A huge score. St Mary's being really patient on the ball here.
The sun is fighting its way out. If the wind would calm down a bit, that would also be great. O'Brien gets a bit more out of the kick out, goes to the 45, but it's just to put it up there and see who wants it, lads. We saw these two play quite a battle 2 years ago. They're doing it again now. Con O'Callaghan receives the ball, he's fouled, free out. UCD will be patient though. They get the conditions are difficult, they get that they will have the wind at their backs quite literally in the second half. McGinn put it inside, through the hands. Con O'Callaghan back to McGinn. And look at the way the wind kind of caught that ball. Killian O'Shea chased back, there was no one pressing up for St Mary's. Brian Byrne from Naas and Kildare. A very decent hurler as well, actually. Won a Christy Wing Cup with Kildare. Moved into Conor Myler. Myler turning and twisting. Mark Dempsey makes a run forward. Instead they go backwards. Peter Healy shoveled out wide into the hands of Conor Myler. Well taken by Cohen, the captain. Cohen drops it inside. Was there a push in the back on Conor McCarthy? Referee says no, comes out to Barry Dan O'Sullivan. Barry Dan O'Sullivan trying to plough through, he's taken down. It's a bit of a loose tackle by Quaylen Dillon.
Hefty challenge there, not sure it was needed. So as we've talked about, in these conditions, discipline is key, and it probably still isn't a scoring opportunity though from this free with that wind.
It's a yellow card.
So I think Evan O'Carroll's lining up off the ground here now.
Well, he's got a beautiful strike of a football off the ground, but these conditions are going to make it so difficult to sail this one over. He's into the teeth of a gale.
He'll probably have to kick across the ball here. I don't think he'll be able to curl this one over.
O'Carroll goes through his usual ritual. He has the distance, but he was kicking against that breeze and it just kind of took it off for him.
Connected very well with it, had the distance, but I suppose when you're trying to put so much power behind the ball, the accuracy might wane a bit. Interesting, UCD not pushing up on the Mary's kick out.
Well, we know that the pictures are a little bit shaky at times. We apologise for that, but as we have mentioned, there is a gale force wind here, so there's not much we can do. Fair play to our crew, by the way, for braving the conditions up there. Dan, we're nice and protected down here, but they're certainly not up there where the cameras are.
Absolutely, we're safe out here.
we're spoiled, they're not.
Yeah.
Here comes Ryan Coleman. St Mary's trying to squirt it out. Going to ground was Liam Devlin, and he has got the free.
You can imagine that this is a scoring opportunity for Stephen McConville again.
What's the charge going to be here? He's having a chat with Conor Myler.
I think it's a second black.
It's a black card.
Yeah.
Another one for UCD. Well, Mike Breen is already gone, and now Conor Myler, formerly of St Mary's, is joining him.
This ball could be moved forward. I think Conor Myler retaliated again with a push. Discipline leaving down UCD at the moment.
I get that they're frustrated, Dan, but they just have to try and deal with it, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Look, this is going to be the same for the problem for St Mary's in the second half. UCD needs to get to half time, kind of damage limitation, get in there, and anything 7 or 8 points here at half time and you're still winning this game.
Here's McConville looking for his 4th of the game. McConville judges it perfectly again. He's having a stormer.
Yeah, another super kick. Look, I think all these shots are splitting the posts. Look, with that win, that's like a 30-yard chip shot, and he has the accuracy.
Good take. Looking for options, St. Mary's. On the jog is Stephen McConville. Cutting back, Jarlath O'Byrne. Into the hands of McGuigan. Can McGuigan punch a hole in UCD here? Hasn't caught that one well at all. That's wide. Just kind of got under it, didn't he? Shane McGuigan.
Got under it, but the shot was on. Look, and again, St. Mary's are very patient and their build-up play is excellent. They're kind of moving UCD's blanket from left to right and just waiting for the gap to open and getting in that scoring zone. Just the execution left them down that time.
Tommy O'Brien from True Gales got to the Kilmacud Croke Sevens final a couple of years ago. It's a clever ball to Cohen. I think he knew exactly what he was doing there. Cohen just broke for it, got into space, and they were able to build it from the back. No point in trying to go long with this football against this breeze.
Now you see they're going to have to do more of that. They're going to have to come up both ways now for the last 7 or 8 minutes to get these kickouts off, because putting it out the middle, it's a free for all out there.
Cian O'Connor. Letting it fall to him is Barry Dan O'Sullivan. Stephen Cohen. McGinn. Brian Byrne. Killian O'Shea. McGinn. Barry Dan makes himself available. It's to Cohen. This time the kick pass does work out. Fortune. Fortune dances back inside. That's a good run by Luke Fortune. Luke Fortune tries to get his pass away, trickles towards Con O'Callaghan. Con O'Callaghan does get it up, goes to ground, and I think it's fair to say wins the free in.
Yeah, that was a free in, alright. Good play by Con O'Callaghan, knew what he was doing, took the ball at pace into the contact and was fouled.
What a shock that the forward gives another forward the benefit of the doubt.
Always.
You're all the same. Yeah. Evan O'Carroll will strike this one off the ground. Missed one from a similar distance, but on the other side a couple of minutes ago.
He might fancy this one a bit better. It's on his right side, and I suppose, look, he connected with the first one well, so
it's at a kinder angle as well. It's further in actually,
absolutely,
rather than the last one, which was at a tight angle.
Look, I think if you're UCD here, look, you're still probably happy enough, bar Conor Myler getting the black card. I think 6 points in these conditions after 25 minutes isn't bad.
Yep. Evan O'Carroll doesn't quite get UCD off the mark, but it might still be there for them. McGinn, he's absolutely crowded, can't get his foot shot away. They're calling for a foot block, but it's defended well. McConville carries, gives it out to the wing, and now running it out for St. Mary's is Aaron Boyle. Was that a foot block?
I didn't think so. I just think that Mary's bottled up the man in possession, and I don't think it was a foot block.
He kind of shot at a leg.
Yeah,
I think is the way to put it, because
so.
he was surrounded.
No, we're 50 yards away from it as well without a replay, so from my vantage point I think not, but I could be mistaken.
McSherry. Ryan Coleman. And that is a free in. Shane McGuigan taken to ground by Mark Dempsey.
Look, this is the discipline again that UCD really needs to improve. There's no danger out there. Forward has his back to the goal. There's no need to foul him.
Shane McGuigan. McGuigan yet to score in this game. Is he about to correct that stat? No, he's not. It's wide.
St. Mary's again pushing up in the UCD kick out. So, UCD any short kick out plan to get that ball easy. They're all bunching into the middle, UCD, and you'd imagine they'll break now either left or right.
Saw that tactic in hurling a couple of weeks ago, Kilkenny and Cork. Cork trying it, didn't particularly work well on the day, but it was only the first day of the league, so you don't get carried away on things that happen or don't happen. Conor O'Callaghan got his hands onto it. His teammate has it now, that's Peter Healy. Cohen had to wait for it. This is a good break by UCD. Mark Dempsey. Dempsey has support. Peter Healy. Cohen.
Look, Conor O'Callaghan's on the other side of the pitch if they can switch the play on his own.
Barry Dan waiting as well in a bit of space now. He's covered, so they have to go backwards again. Here's Cian O'Connor, who can move swiftly with the ball in hand. Barry Dan O'Sullivan trying to dance past wing-back Colin Byrne. Barry McGinn. Running onto it again is Conor McCarthy. McCarthy goes back outside Conor O'Callaghan. Cohen. Peter Healy, does he fancy a shot? No, he doesn't. Moved inside to Gavin, who can bulldoze through defences, as can this man Evan O'Carroll, but he's at a very tight angle here. And it's a free out.
It looked to be the right call for me. Very disciplined play again from St. Mary's. Like, St. Mary's have the luxury that they know that there's not going to a shot isn't going to be taken, so they can afford to step off that small bit and not apply huge pressure with that wind. I suppose what they're trying to watch for is these runners breaking from deep unmarked.
O'Carroll is down. He's a big unit, Evan O'Carroll. I remember seeing him about 5-6 years ago playing for Laois under-21s against Dublin, and while they were completely beaten on the night and completely outclassed, he still stood out. He still played well.
Seems to be another card coming here.
Well, what's the colour? 2 black cards already for UCD. He'd be a huge loss.
Yeah, it's funny, I'm not sure. He had the ball, so unless something happened after, I'm not sure what this is.
Yellow.
Probably wastes a minute or two for UCD, if anything.
No score for UCD in the first half. I appreciate the conditions, but it's still not a stat that they'll be happy with, because they have had opportunities. One free hit the woodwork, one free went wide, and one shot as well.
And I think John Divley, even you'll see he's probably small but worried. He's bringing his marquee players out the pitch to get on the ball. Conor O'Callaghan, Evan Carroll's coming out a bit at times, Conor McCarthy.
Jarlath's O'Gregan.
He has it, I'd say.
Yeah. Making good on his promise yet again. What a point that was.
Great score. Look, it's funny. Look, it's 50 yards out. In a normal day, that shot is not on. But look, super score, and 7 points up now for St. Mary's going into half time.
And just 3 of those points from frees as well. Can UCD get something before the break? Trying to make it happen is Cian O'Connor. Brian Byrne. Mark Dempsey. Barry McGinn. Half-time analysis to come. Remember, if you're watching this back as live, you can just forward through and get to the start of the second half. McGinn. Evan O'Carroll is after. His jersey was surely tugged there. Referee says no, and I think Dylan's got away with one there. Here's Barry McGinn. Peter Healy moves it inside. Is there a score there for UCD before the break? It's a good surging run. Conor McCarthy cuts back, looks inside to Conor O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan with his back to goal, 3 around him, but he's so cool, calm and collected on the ball. That is brilliant play. Dempsey back out to Healy. That was Diarmuid Connolly-esque.
Yeah, super play by Conor O'Callaghan there, considering there's 5 Mary's men on him.
Here's Barry Dan O'Sullivan. Cohen.
Mary's now with every single player behind the ball.
Barry Dan O'Sullivan. 7 points down UCD, but they will not panic because it's a long second half in these conditions, and they have got the talent to shoot their way back into this one. Gavin to Cohen. Cohen to Mark Dempsey. Cohen is backing him up. Dempsey jogs on. It's a good run by Dempsey, who's fouled, and it's a free in. And they're probably going to have to work this one because there's no point in shooting from here. Cohen does try to work it. They take it quickly. It's Conor Callaghan who can turn defences. Conor Callaghan bounces back up like a coiled spring, tries to get it away. St Mary's turn it over, and I'm not sure if you can hear it, but there's cries from their bench after they turned it over. That was a big moment of the game, because if they conceded a goal, they would have only been 4 up at the break with the breeze against them in the second half. UCD trailing in this game, the champions, 7 points to no score down against St Mary's in this Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final. But Daniel Goulding, the wind is a big factor. It is a telling factor. It is a dominating factor.
Yeah, huge factor to the game. Look, it's funny, the scoring zone for UCD is probably inside the 21, whereas it's probably 55 yards out for St Mary's. Now, to be fair to St Mary's, they have defended very well in that first half. They've been very disciplined. Any fouls they have done have been outside of the scoring zone, and they've generally crowded out any scoring chances that UCD might have. On the other side, then, once they got into their rhythm, they kicked some super points from outside the 45 with the win. So, look, I think St Mary's will be very happy going in at half time. UCD, I suppose there will be a small bit of concern because St Mary's will be set up to defend this win, and look, it's probably getting men behind the ball. They're very good at it, so it'll be interesting to see can UCD break them down now in the second half.
Well, McConville got the first point of the game. It was followed by a Coleman strike, then a McConville free. He backed it up with another free a couple of minutes later. Mike Breen got a black card for UCD after that. Rafferty stepped up with a great score to make it 5 points to no score after 18 minutes for St Mary's. In the 22nd minute, another black card for UCD, this time Conor Myler. After that, just 2 more points in the game, a McConville free and a Jarlath O'Regan point from play, which made it 7 points to no score at the break in this Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final, the first of 2 this weekend in Mallow. Tomorrow it's UCC against NUI Galway. We already know who our finalists are in the Electric Ireland Fitzgibbon Cup. We had 2 dramatic semi-finals during the week. On Tuesday we had a good trip for the first game. That was a real battle in Waterford between DCU Dokasharon and UCC. On Thursday we were in Ennis for Mary Immaculate College against NUI Galway. How did those games go? Well, you can find out now. Clearing it is David Prendergast, and in the absence of Barry Collin this year, he's a player Pádraig Fanning, the Waterford manager, might be looking at. Hooban, brother of the Dog striker Patrick Hooban. That's Paul Hooban who delivers it down to Conor Whelan. Conor Whelan gets his first score of the game, and that is a beautiful strike as well. O'Loughlin is stuck to by Andrew Draney, and NUI Galway get it away. That's a really good pass. Is it matched by a really good shot by Liam Ford? And that is just beautiful teamwork, and it's finished with a beautiful score.
That's a top class score by Liam Ford.
Glan winds up, gets the elevation, gets the distance, and gets the score.
Top class rushing, isn't it?
It's a big moment. Will we get our first goal of this Electric Ireland Fitzgibbon Cup semi-final? Glan! In it goes. It wasn't the most sweetest strike in the world, but it doesn't matter so long as it goes in, and that's exactly what it does. Darren Brown. Whelan does manage to take it. He's got Burke inside. Burke! Good stop by Cahill, almost kicked it into the net himself. He's still struggling to get it, and eventually wins the free. That could be a huge moment in this game.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, you know, he was inside, Darren Burke inside in his own Whelan. I didn't think he'd seen him, spotted him, perfect ball across, and he just needed maybe to take an extra second and maybe take it a little bit closer to make sure. And you know, Owen Cahill, great stop.
They couldn't grow. There's so much action on this pitch. That's an absolute launcher from Chris O'Leary. Does it have the legs and accuracy? Oh, it does. That's a great strike by O'Leary. Bergen, does he have the room? Can he make the room? He's trying to. Has to go off the stick. And that is a great score. From inside his own 65. Comes down here for Kingston. Goal on, goal got. Brilliant strike. Fantastic finish. Here's David Conway. Conway with a lovely turn. Kingston. Kingston gets around Conor Delaney. Kingston still going. Kingston off the stick from an incredibly tight angle. Kingston, oh, that is absolutely beautiful.
Listen, this is exhibition stuff now. This is exhibition stuff from Shane Kingston.
UCD try and escape. Here's Conway. Looks for Kingston. Kingston, who's been relatively quiet in the second half. Kingston makes some noise. Good score.
Shane, it's very hard to mark pace.
That's a good take and go. Jinx with the steps as well. That would be a wonderful score if it was to go over. It does, and DCU Dokasharon hit the front. Welcome back to Mallow for this Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final. It's semi-final 1 of 2. Tomorrow it is NUI Galway against UCC, and we'll also be bringing you that. Daniel Goulding, a winner of this competition with CIT in 2009, and of course an All-Ireland winner with Cork in 2010. Half-time in this game, St Mary's College Belfast leading by 7 points to no score against UCD. Look, we've talked about it all throughout the day. The wind is the dominating factor, but now that we're actually standing on the pitch, it doesn't seem as bad, does it?
No, it doesn't seem as bad, but I'm sure when you're trying to put the ball up in the air for shots even 20 yards out at this stage seems to be causing trouble for UCD in the first half. So it's going to be a very interesting second half. St Mary's have played very well in that first half, very disciplined defensively, no big fouls in the scoring zone, and after initial first 10 minutes kind of finding their range, I think they've really hit their stride now, and I think McConville there and Gerald Holt Burns are really coming up trumps for them at the moment.
This wind essentially kind of makes this game a game of backs and forwards. So in the first half the forwards were St Mary's, in the second half it's going to be UCD, but it doesn't guarantee that UCD are going to go on a run, because as you mentioned, St Mary's are very hard working, they get men behind the ball and they're going to be hard to break down. Yeah,
look, I think probably UCD fell into the trap a small bit of sitting off them too much. Like, I think all St Mary's scores were maybe 45-50 yards out. Maybe the blanket should have been pushed out that bit more, not allow them shoot from there. Be interesting to see now will St Mary's in the second half, as you say, adapt a bit better and maybe step out that little bit more, and I suppose that then leaves a chance that UCD could open them up as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see who adapts better now in the second half.
UCD have the forwards to do damage though, don't they?
Absolutely. Look, I think Conor Callan was trying to make inroads there, didn't have the option to shoot because of the wind, but if he can get free, I'd say 40 yards outside the goal, same with Conor McCarthy, they're going to take their shots. And look, I suppose it's going to be a reversal of the first half, and we'll see, are UCD good enough to capitalise?
Actually, that breeze is picking back up again, so scratch what I said about it not being as strong. The thing about UCD is we've mentioned some of their forwards. They've got some good backs cutting through as well. Peter Healy and Stephen Cohen pushing up from midfield. Darren Gavin can break through as well. They're all very good at making the right decision, taking the right option, and that's the difference with this UCD team. Yes, they're superstars, but they do play as a team. That's going to be important against a heavily packed defence in the second half.
No, absolutely, it's going to be very important, and you see as well St Mary's got the handle on that in the first half as well. After the first initial couple of chances that weren't on, they started being patient, and with this win now, if UCD can remain patient, get into the scoring zone and get their shots off, they're going to have a big chance. They're here before as well. They were down 2 or 3 points last year, coming into the final 7 or 8 minutes as well, and they prevailed. So they have the experience, and a lot of these players are match winners. So I think the challenge for St Mary's is going to be keep them outside that 45 and keep them shooting under pressure and not fouling. I think that's going to be big for St Mary's in the second half.
We see with St Mary's as well, they have an ability to turn over the ball, they have an ability to carry it down the park, so they do have scores in them in the second half.
Absolutely. Look, St Mary's are very well drilled, and you can see from even 2 years ago that they know how to play football, and they know what they're good at, and they're very good at implementing their plan. So I think the pressure is still on UCD here to see if they can deliver and have the joy that St Mary's had in the first half with the wind.
With this wind, it's a bit like cricket, isn't it? I think St Mary's have set a total for UCD to chase in the second half, but they are capable of chasing that total. how difficult is it as a free taker out here? Because we've seen Evan O'Carroll from mid-range by his standards missing frees.
Yeah, well, I suppose in the first half, the two St Mary's lads with the wind probably are kicking it out of their hands, and I think shooting into the goal against the wind out of your hands is even harder than kicking it off the ground. So it'll be interesting to see will they have a kicker off the ground for the second half if they get these frees. And look, I suppose the other thing for UCD is their kick out has caused them all problems because of the wind. When they haven't been able to go short, it's a free for all out in the middle, and St Mary's are pushing up them, and it's causing them big trouble.
If you're St Mary's, do you just drop everyone behind for the first 15 minutes of the half and see where you go from there, see what you're at?
I'd imagine they will. To be fair to St Mary's, in the first half it wasn't as if they didn't drop people behind the ball as well. They played with 3 or 4 sweepers in the first
Their
half.
game mightn't change a whole pile, might it?
Absolutely, and that's the thing. They did the same 2 years ago. I think that's their game plan. They break very fast, and it'll be interesting to see will they be able to penetrate UCD more than UCD were able to do in the first half.
Well, the weather is deteriorating, the wind is getting stronger, it's definitely cold, and the rain is beginning to trickle down. This is about as difficult as it gets for a player, isn't it?
Yeah, I think when I was playing back Sigerson, you'd love the dry, lovely sunny day. You don't get them, but you nearly prefer rain to wind. Wind is probably the one thing you don't want because it makes lottery out of the game.
Okay, Daniel, for now, thank you very much. Daniel Goulding, a winner of this competition with CIT in 2009 and, of course, an All-Ireland with Cork in 2010. It's half-time in the first of this weekend's Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-finals. UCD coming back onto the pitch as we speak. They have a job of work to do in the second half. They're trailing by 7 points to no score. Stick with us because the second half, along with post-match analysis and reaction, is coming up. There they are, all wrapped up well, making plenty of noise on the far side. A lot of people travelling down from Letterkenny today and Donegal in general to support Letterkenny IT because they were in the Trench Cup final and they had a big win, 15 points to 2-7 the final score.
Yeah, look, it's good to see Michael Murphy involved with them as well. I suppose done an awful lot with his county and his club, and I suppose adding the college now to his resume, I suppose it's fairly impressive.
Yeah, I put it to him that Declan Boner will have to watch his position. Michael might be after it.
3 or 4 years' time, I'd say.
He looked to the manner born, actually, as a manager. Just the way he was giving instructions to his players. He was getting his point across, but he wasn't bawling and screaming. Sometimes with managers, they shout, and actually it's nearly counterproductive because all a player sees is them shouting, something Jim Gavin talks about. He never loses his cool because he says, what's the point? If I'm losing my cool, then players lose it. It filters down everywhere. It's
kind of Michael's manner anyway. He's very unassuming character, very kind of confident in his own ability and quiet and goes about his business.
Later than advertised, we're underway in the second half. Jarlath Oak Burns takes the first ball. What is going to be the play here from UCD? What is going to be the tactic? They didn't score in the first half. St Mary's go looking for their first of the second. Here's Niall Toner. Will it be one of those days where one team doesn't score in the first half and the other doesn't score in the second half? It could well be. Jarlath Oak Burns.
Could well be. Now UCD only have, I'd say, 3 forwards up and the rest are back defending.
McSherry got onto it there. Out it goes to McConville. They'll try and slow it down at every opportunity. St Mary's, they'll try and ice the clock. They'll try and just keep playing the ball around. They'll try and frustrate UCD.
Absolutely, yeah. And this probably suits their game plan to a certain extent because they carry the ball, they defend the numbers.
It's a good intervention by Gavin and he wins the free. The Dublin footballer with the Galway blood. Running onto it now is McGinn. Very much a 100% Monaghan man. Well, born and raised there anyway. Ball breaks off McKinney. And it will be actually a St Mary's ball because the linesman said it last touched off a UCD hand. Here's McGuigan. Over it goes to the goalkeeper Mark Reid. In this situation, should UCD really be pushing up?
I think usually with the wind you probably have to push up at that height. Look, if once they break forward then you get back, but I suppose UCD are the ones chasing the game.
In terrible conditions, Peter Healy turns it over. Con O'Callaghan. Gavin. Looks gangly, but it all comes together. He's such a good player, such a tidy player. Stephen Cohen. Cohen is dispossessed brilliantly there by his opposite number, Liam Devlin. And then it's a free into UCD. And on the deck for UCD is Luke Fortune.
To be fair to St Mary's, their tackling and intensity of defence around the scoring zone is very impressive. Like every foul they're giving away is in a place where it's not dangerous.
St Mary's also have a man down, but he's dusting himself off and getting back up. It's Devlin of Down. And UCD go backwards and they'll build from the back. And here's Cillian O'Shea. Barry Dan O'Sullivan. Remember, already 2 black cards for UCD in this game. Myler and Breen in the stands. That's a really good hand in. Really good work by St Mary's. Fantastic play by Shane McGuigan.
Yeah, look again, defensively, any ball that's given to UCD, man, where it's 50-50, 60-40, St Mary's are dealing with it.
No surprise they're so organised. St Mary's, any team that Paddy Talley is involved with, they are going to be. He is part of the backroom team. Gavin McGilly is the manager. Oak Burns. Down it goes to Stephen McConville. And that's a tackle off the ball. Running into his man was Stephen McConville, knew exactly what he was doing, stopping up the play free for UCD. He says to the referee, James Birmingham, what was I supposed to do? In fairness, he doesn't have eyes in the back of his head. He kind of made the run across Gavin.
I think he knew what he was doing.
Very cynical, Dan. Very cynical.
It's interesting here, UCD, if you're off screen now, they have 5 up, and I think UCD are still looking to kick it in as opposed to work it in. Like you have 6 UCD forwards inside the 45 at the moment.
Brian Byrne. That bounce catches him, but he rescues it. Has a runner down the wing, that's Cian O'Connor. Cian O'Connor. And this time the referee body checks, he's got to throw that one up. Got in the way of McGinn.
Good third man tackle there.
Will he give himself a card? Evan O'Carroll not too happy with something. No doubt that UCC and NUI Galway have representatives here today eyeing up who they could be playing in the final. Those two meet tomorrow. We'll be bringing you that as well. You can watch as live with us. Keep an eye out as well on the higher education GAA social media channels for highlights of some of the other action going on across the weekend here. We've had a great weekend of semi-finals and finals in the lower tier competitions, including the Trench Cup, which we've talked about quite a bit, and you will be able to watch action and reaction to those games. Now UCD have a free. It will be struck by Conor McCarthy.
Yeah, good win there by Barry Dan O'Sullivan, and kind of bought the free, knew what he was doing. Parting kick now, get UCD off the mark.
36 minutes into the game, can UCD get their first score? That looks like it's going to drag. No, and it does, it's wide.
UCD don't look to have settled into this game at all at any stage. There's no fluidity about them at the moment. St Mary's look way more comfortable and up for the challenge.
No rush about St Mary's at the moment, and why would there be? Might be a bit of a rush now. McGinn has the ball. McGinn goes for it. McGinn puts it wide.
The ref is speeding up St Mary's here, we can see. Up to UCD now to pin St Mary's back on their kick out. St Mary's had good joy with that in UCD in the first half.
Mark Reid goes long-ish into the teeth of this strong gale. Gavin grabs it. Fouled and free in. Now go to the open spaces. Peter Healy. He went off injured against TU Dublin City campus. But he wasn't injured, he just, to be fair to John Dibley, he was protecting him. The job was done early, so he took him off early. Barry McGinn. O'Connor into space. He thought about the strike, but gave it inside to Brian Byrne. Brian Byrne from a crowd. Brian Byrne gets UCD's first of the game. 37 minutes in.
Good score, and UCD are going to have to do more of that. They had it here over on the right side, switched the play, had a runner, got into the scoring zone. I don't know if I was John Dibley here, I'd look about bringing Conor Callan out the pitch a small bit and getting him running the ball into the scoring zone. not getting the best out of him inside at the moment.
I think that's fair to say. Now, can they win primary possession again? A goal would open this one right up. Falls into the hands of Michael Rooney. And that is a drag down, but is it a black card? Referee having a word. What's it going to be for Conor McCarthy? Yellow.
Probably was a high tackle as opposed to a drag down, I think. Also, I think the black card quota could be done for the day, I'd say.
Yeah. More of a kind of a clothesline, but not what you call a vicious one. My definition of a clothesline is when you kind of get your arm across someone, which he did. You kind of tugged him as well. Like, your man wasn't moving at speed, so it wasn't
vicious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't vicious.
Yeah.
Mary's trying to work it out. Here's Aaron Boyle getting onto it. Moved off to McGuigan. Cornerback pushing forward. That's Rooney. Down the wing they go. Duffy. Coleman. Into the midfielder, Liam Devlin. Devlin thought about a shot. Byrne had found a bit of space. Then he was covered, now he's turned over. That's a 50-50 ball at best, but it's really well won by Conor McCarthy, who's fouled, and it's a free to UCD. He wants to take it quickly. Evan O'Carroll looking to move out in front. He does, and he's fouled.
Scoring opportunity now, you'd have to imagine, for UCD. I suppose the marked difference between the two teams, even when they're both playing when they both played with the win now, is St Mary's did not kick the ball in the first half really going forward. UCD are still looking to put the head up and find a man maybe 30-40 yards away.
Evan O'Carroll is going to go for this. You can tell by the way he's placing the ball. The very strong wind behind him in the second half. Did I mention it's windy here in Mallow today? Does the O'Carroll shuffle. And does the usual O'Carroll trick of putting the ball over the bar.
Yeah, beautiful kick. Cut across the ball. Straight as an arrow. All these scores very critical for UCD. Start asking questions of St Mary's.
And two in the second half, one from Brian Byrne, one from Evan O'Carroll. And 5 between them. Plenty of time left as well, 20 minutes. Plus extra time if we need it, plus 45s if we need those. And I wonder what end they'd go to if we did go to 45s. Ball rescued by Gavin. Back it goes to O'Connor. UCD beginning to crank it up a bit now, aren't they? They're beginning to warm up a bit.
Pressure around the middle now is after increasing, and a couple of sloppy passes from St Mary's is giving the ball back easily to UCD.
Byrne moves it on to Stephen Cohen, who always looks so composed on the ball. Always looks like he's looking for an option and always finds one as well. And that's not easy to do considering the pressure generally he's under when he has the football in hand. Darren Gavin juggles and loses, and McGuigan intercepts. Good running by Toner. Everyone is kind of just inside that 45 and between the 65. Now they fan out just a little bit. McSherry. Good take by Duffy. Keeper cool enough and taking that one-handed Mark Reid from County Down. Out it goes to Dillon. An attempted turnover by McGinn, but he just couldn't get enough on that football.
Ooh,
this is high risk from the goalkeeper, Mark Reid, but it does work out, yeah. Aaron Boyle ran onto it, the Armagh man. Jarlath O'Burns. Nice hand pass to Toner. Ooh, referee lets that one fly. Barry Dan O'Sullivan dusts himself off and taking off as Niall Toner. There is no point in shooting from around that 45. You won't even kick it dead. McConville got some nice scores in the first half, hasn't really featured in the second half, but again, that's down to the conditions and just the way this game is falling. McGuigan.
This is a good play from Mary's. Look, if anything else, they're probably on 30 possessions here. They're eating down the clock.
Ryan Coleman getting away from Cian O'Connor. Free out.
Double hop, I think he's given it for.
Yeah, that's what he's saying, yeah.
I didn't see it, but
Hooked out by McGinn into the hands of Conor Callahan, who's roaming all over the park looking for possession. Cian O'Connor wants it. Barry Dan O'Sullivan gets it. O'Connor continues his run forward. Famous for those runs in the Dublin Club Championship. Nice pinpoint pass from Conor McCarthy. Luke Fortune back inside to McCarthy, runs into a crowd, tries to get out of it. He's dispossessed. UCD played their way into trouble there.
absolutely, I think the pop pass to McCarthy wasn't on there. Just brought him into 5 or 6 Mary's men. I don't know, should Fortune have had a shot himself maybe?
Is one of the traits of playing against that strong breeze in the first half. You nearly condition yourself not to shoot, and then you can't shake that off in the second, because they've had a couple of opportunities like that and they've passed rather than shot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where St Mary's made hay in the first half. When they had their chance from 40 yards, they just pulled the trigger.
UCD making a change. Going off is Barry McGinn. Coming in, I think, is Niall O'Callaghan from Coola. Brian O'Shanachon is in from Kerry. It is O'Shanachon in for McGinn. Couldn't quite make out the substitutes number on the board on the far side. Gavin goes after it, can't get there. It does come to Jarlath O'Gregan. Burns, keep calling him Regan. Burns, Jarlath O'G Burns. I'm confusing it with Tony O'Gregan, who was involved in NUI Galway the other night. Burns gets it going. Here's Burns again. Burns down the wing, running onto it is Shane McGuigan. That's a free out. And Burns is frustrated. Cohen. Cian O'Connor. Cian O'Connor booms it into the corner. Conor Callahan is out in front. A little too hot to handle, but he does eventually gather it. O'Shanachon, O'Connor, Barry Dan O'Sullivan running onto it now, jogging onto it more so Killian O'Shea. That's a good burst through. Out wide it goes. Here's the shot from Peter Healy. Here's the point from Peter Healy.
Good score from UCD. Yeah, look, probably kick pass 30-40 yards into Conor Callahan, came out, collected it. By the time he was out in the 45. They moved it the whole way across the pitch and stretched out St Mary's and got the overlap and a good finish.
Just 4 between them. 15 minutes or so to go. Gathered by Rooney. Good surge out of defence. Good run by McKinney. As McKinney overcarried, steps.
Could have been.
UCD players. No, says the referee. Here's Byrne. Byrne goes out wide. Toner tries to bring it to a kinder angle. Toner trying to cut inside. And there's a foul on O'Connor and it's a free out.
Third man tackle again. It looked to be interesting. Single, this be a black. Could well be.
What's the card, if there is one, for Colin Byrne? Black card.
Absolutely.
First for St Mary's.
Similar to Breen's black in the first half, attacking team actually committed the body check. So look, letter of the law, he had to go.
St Mary's, who are chasing a second title in 3 years. UCD chasing the 2 in a row. Yellow card for Shane McGuigan.
like with about 12 minutes left, you'd have to say UCD have all the ball, but they're not creating a huge amount of chances considering.
They may need a goal at some stage, but I don't think we've had any goal chances in this game, with the exception of one that was blocked by Mary's leg in the first half from a free that fell down to McGinn. Here's Barry Dan O'Sullivan. Brian Byrne making a darting run ahead of Byrne was O'Shanachon. UCD lose it in contact again. Forward, says Cohn, they go backwards. Dara Kennedy's after slipping on for UCD. Trying to drive on here is Barry Dan O'Sullivan. Barry Dan O'Sullivan from an incredibly tight angle. Keeper has to deal with it and does really well. Now trying to run it out is Shane McGuigan. St Mary's College, 850 registered pupils when they won this in 2017. I imagine that number hasn't changed a whole pile. They are giant killers. They are giants themselves, I guess you'd have to say as well, having done so well in recent Electric Ireland Sigerson Cups. But compared to some other colleges, their playing numbers and student numbers are just so low.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal achievement. Look, and as you said earlier, the coaching has a lot to do with it. This team are so well drilled.
McConville. Oh, that's a really good ball. Dillon runs onto it, just had trouble picking it up. It delays a second and allows UCD to get back, but the chance still there. Dillon again, popped off to corner forward Niall Toner. UCD crowd around, but they're working it well. McGuigan goes outside. McConville. Will they go for the shot? McConville. Surely he'll go for it from here. McConville. That's a magnificent point.
Great score there. McConville on to the game. I think this could be his 5th point of the game. Turned over UCD and caught them on the break. Had runners into the danger zone and a great finish.
Cracking score by McConville.
So the one thing I think with UCD here is their shooters aren't getting on the ball. Conor Callan hasn't had a shot at goal now as I speak. It could be commentator's curse.
He's won the free in a good position.
But they're the kind of positions you need to get Conor Callan and Evan O'Carroll in. I think having them inside in these kind of conditions, they're not getting any service, so you're better off getting them out the pitch where they can be one of the shooters on the end of plays.
And it is 5 points for McConville. You are absolutely correct. 3 of them from frees. So St Mary's have managed to do what UCD didn't do in the first half, and that's score against this strong gale. And it was a brilliantly worked point as well. It was exactly what you need to do in these conditions. Evan O'Carroll looking to do exactly what he needs to do here and put this one over, which he should.
Important kick here now.
The O'Carroll shuffle. The O'Carroll kick.
That's it.
The O'Carroll point.
I think you need, look, I'll repeat this, I think you need to get your shooters out for UCD, get them around the 40, so they're coming on to the end of runs.
4 between them. Evan O'Carroll with his 2nd of the game. Both from frees. Where's this going to go? UCD have ball winners, but they're beaten to it there. Brilliant work by Jarlath Oak Burns. He's had an absolute stormer, Jarlath Oak Burns. Ryan Coleman. Coleman trying to draw in the defender, Brian Byrne. He's done really well. They're taking it into the corner. They'll hold it there for the next 9 minutes if they possibly can. This is a really good display by St Mary's, but it's not surprising because, like we say, they've been good the last couple of years. This is a booming crossfielder by Jarlath Oak Burns. It might drop in on top of Niall Toner.
It's dangerous.
It's very dangerous. McGrath got onto it, did well. Shoot is the shout from one of the mentors on the sideline. Aaron Boyle doesn't listen to that advice, just pops it off to Niall Toner. Mary's pressing up. McGrath's onto it, having come off the bench. Toner on the run. Toner tries to cut past his man. Liam Devlin got bottled up. UCD turn it over. And now they try to break very quickly. This is a good surging run. But the fullback's going to get there, Dillon.
Again, these conditions, not sure those kick passes are on.
It was Dara Kennedy who played it down the line. Gavin chases after it. McGrath stays cool under pressure.
And St Mary's are far more economical with the ball, far more patient. kind of pride themselves in not giving it away, and look, in these conditions that's critical.
You were never going to get a great game in these conditions. What we are seeing though is a very good performance, like a lot to be admired about St Mary's.
Absolutely, very similar to their performance 2 years ago in the final.
That was a superstar UCD team. Lots of encouragement coming from the sideline for both teams. Helping it on is Brian O'Shanachon. Cohen looks up, Cohen puts it inside. They're going to need a goal. O'Carroll couldn't make it just fall for him.
Go! He can go! We gotta go! Let's stay there, stay over the legs, come on!
Boyle carries slowly but surely. McGrath backwards. Dillon. It's like watching a basketball team, and I mean that as a compliment. Just their coolness under pressure is really, really impressive. Oh, that's a brilliant slip through by Niall Toner. And he does it again. Toner gives it off. McGuigan has options. McGuigan. It's on here for Rafferty.
Free in.
Rafferty! Free in. Well, one of his points earlier in the competition featured in one of Jerome Quinn's videos. And it looked like he was on for it again there, but he did really well, and they've got the free in a very good position. Yes, we've talked about the breeze. Yes, we've talked about how difficult it is, but that's in a central position in or around the 20-metre line. Where's the free out? McConville's jogging forward here. I thought he gave the free in. I thought he was playing advantage.
No, it's a free in. I'd
Oh,
say
it's a free in,
McConville's just take his time, I'd
Yeah.
say. Look, again from St Mary's, look, super play. I suppose they do play a possession game, but don't be mistaken, they've very good footballers. They're all well able to carry the ball, all very skillful, very tricky players, and they have their system down to a T.
McConville to open up a 5-point lead with 5 minutes to go. And McConville does it. Five points is a mammoth lead in such conditions. McConville putting over his fourth free of the game. He's 6th overall. And that's a good dispossession. Evan O'Carroll goes to ground, bounces back up. Cian O'Connor. UCD are going to have to try and work a goal. Here's Kennedy. That's a really good score by Dara Kennedy from Cavan.
Great score, yeah. Needed that score as well under pressure outside the boot. Great score. UCD need more of that. They don't need to be putting balls into the 21, into their inside forward line. They need shooters outside.
On a windy day, it's been anything but a windy performance by St Mary's, but it's not done yet. And UCD have goals on them. A little bit of messing going on the far side. What's going to be the decision here? It's Stephen McConville.
McConville, yeah.
They want to keep him on the park. Yellow card for McConville.
Again, this is wasting the clock a bit. St Mary's will be quite happy with this.
And if Down are to get back to where they were in 2010, competing for All Irelands, then they'll need players like McConville. He's been immense today. McConville sent to the ground, bounces back up, having a little chat, I think it's fair to say, with Mark Dempsey. Referee will come over, probably give Dempsey a card.
It's all playing into St Mary's hands. I suppose you could say discipline for UCD today probably has caused them a lot of trouble.
Yep. An intriguing game in a sense that St Mary's led by 7 points to no score at the break, because they played with the breeze in the first half. And it wasn't just because of that. Sorry, we keep saying it's because of the breeze they led. They led because they played really good football. And
Great
they
take
played
there by Liam Devlin as well.
Aaron Duffy.
I suppose something that St Mary's had that UCD struggled with in the first half. Mark Reid has a huge kick out, and even against that wind he's still kicking the ball 50 yards out, and it's relieving pressure for St Mary's.
McKinney went to ground, bounces back up now in hand is Aaron Boyle. Comes out here to McSherry. That's a good movement of the ball. Trying to shake off his man was Aaron Boyle. He couldn't manage to do so.
No, good work by Conor Callan there. Got back, got the tackle in and forced the turnover.
UCD need a goal. They don't have the time to score 4 points. Certainly not the way this game has gone.
Well, to be honest with you, they could score 4 points, but I think it's the way they're playing more than anything.
Darren Gavin tries to find a way through. Pops it off. Conor McCarthy. Inside it goes, and that's a waste.
Johnny, yeah, but there's about 2, you normal 90, you're talking 6 all in.
It's been a frustrating day for UCD.
Has indeed. Just didn't look fluid at all. I suppose never adapted to the conditions, and I suppose St Mary's have played the smarter, more patient football, and I suppose got the critical scores that they've needed.
Out it goes from Reid, the goalkeeper. He's had a fine display, the down man. And St Mary's win the breaking ball and win the free. Really good work by Liam Devlin.
I think he's won 3-4 big kickouts in the second half.
Analysis to come after the game. They're working really well. McSherry. The small college have come up with a big performance today. Still have work to do. Rafferty. There's no better sight in football than seeing Rafferty surging forward. Does the smart thing and gives it back to Toner. Rafferty. And that's a silly thing to do by Cian O'Connor.
Yeah, silly foul this late in the game for UCD, probably out of frustration more than anything. St Mary's now will wind down the clock here a bit more.
And the clock will go to 64 if we stay on target, because over on the far side you can't see it on camera, but I can see it on the far side. 4 minutes has been held up on the board. Yellow card, Cian O'Connor, who's a fine young footballer. Frustration got the better of him, and as I say, it's easy to judge up here, but down there it's so tough on these players. Taken short and smartly by McConville. Intercepted, fouled. UCD try to break quickly and they can't, and they're frustrated because they wanted to go. They've got 4 minutes to rescue this one. A yellow card flashed.
That's McConville gone.
Was it McConville got the yellow?
Yeah, second yellow for the pull down, I'd say.
He is gone, he's walking off, he's got his head down. He's in no rush off. McConville is heading off. The referee held up the yellow card. It was around 1 or 2 players. I thought it might have been Coleman, but it is McConville and he's gone. He's really taken one from the team there. Evan O'Carroll. O'Carroll trying to shake off the full forward Ryan Coleman. And St Mary's, well, a couple of them might take one for the team here. Here's Gavin who lays it off. McCarthy inside. Cohen. Gavin. Everyone back for Mary's. All 14 players that they've got left. Trying to cut through is Gary Walsh of Laois. A foul and a free in and a chance to narrow it to a 3-point gap. It was good direct running by UCD. They need more of that. So Evan O'Carroll in no rush here. O'Carroll. It's a 3-point game.
Going to make for an interesting last 2 minutes. UCD will push Matt up in the kick out here. I presume Mark Reid will go as long as he can. Probably to Liam Devlin, I assume.
2 minutes left. We had 4 allocated for injury time. Mary's down to 14.
There he is again, Liam Devlin. Huge catch again.
Like a salmon leaping out of a river. Some will put this down as a shock. It's not really when you look at Mary's record in recent years, but they've given away a free in here. And you wonder, are UCD just going to try and kick this one over, or will they try and work it for a goal? I think they're going to try and work it for a goal. Dara Kennedy got onto it. Kennedy inside. Might fall for Gary Walsh. Walsh trying to turn and twist. Gets around his man. He's at a tight angle and he's absolutely surrounded. Tries to get the ball away. Won't quite fall for Cohen and Gavin. And it's a free out. Cohen is frustrated.
I thought Walsh was fouled there, being honest. I know he was going for the goal, but he was still being fouled.
And now we cross over into the last minute of injury time and expect St Mary's to be in absolutely no rush. An intriguing game. It's not done yet, but it looks like St Mary's are on their way back to the final. They run out of room. UCD have the possession. Remember, if it ends level, if UCD somehow manage to get a goal in the next minute or so, we are going to extra time, unless of course they or St Mary's can find a winner. Here's Cian O'Connor. Cian O'Connor hangs it inside. Cian O'Connor. Good score.
Great
It's
score.
a 2-point game, and now a goal would win it, and they probably still need a goal because I don't think they've got time to kick 2 points.
I'd imagine he was dropping that in, and look, Wynn carried it.
I think a similar thing happened to him actually at the end of the Leinster final.
Yeah, no, from our vantage point, it was a super score. UCD need to win this kick out. It's going to go up.
9 seconds left of the 4 minutes allocated. Where's this ball going to go? That's a fantastic mark. That could be the winning of the game. Shane McGuigan. Has another McGuigan landed another knockout punch? There could be even more for them here because escaping is Ryan Coleman. Coleman is in and goal. Coleman, could he win it for St Mary's? I think he has, you know.
Super score, yeah. Look, huge kick out one, I think, by Shane McGuigan. Had the awareness then with the quick free to Ryan Coleman, and he did the rest.
And St Mary's, who have under 1,000 pupils, have beaten champions UCD in the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final. It's not a huge shock, to be honest, but you can see what it means to the small Belfast college.
Yeah, look, huge win for St Mary's. Very, very similar to what they did to UCD 2 years ago. Their game plan worked to a T again. Defensively, very, very good, and I suppose took their chances, very economical up front, and that was proved to be the difference.
It's utter frustration for UCD. They've been beaten by 10 points to 7. We'll have reaction shortly, plus maybe, just maybe, we'll hear from some of the joyous St Mary's players and management. Stay with us. Welcome back to Mallow, where we've seen a bit of a surprise. Welcome back to Mallow, where some would say we've seen a surprise in the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-finals. I don't think we have. St Mary's have beaten UCD by 10 points to 7. And without further ado, let's hear from one of the St Mary's heroes on the day, Jareth O'Burns. Jareth, congratulations to you. I'm old enough that I can say I remember your dad playing and I'm friends with your dad, but God, you were really good out there today. First of all, how does it feel to have reached another Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup final?
I can't put it into words, honestly. Unbelievable. The start of the year, we had a few boys that were put out early. Oisin O'Neill, Conn Kilpatrick, a few other boys. Our centre half back couldn't play today. He's the under 21 Ulster final tomorrow at the club, and just the odds were against us today, and it just feels unbelievable that we came through today. Honestly, unbelievable against such a great team.
You were 7 points to no score up at the break. Now, you did play with the aid of a massively strong breeze in the first half. What did you say at half time? What was the game plan for the second half?
Well, the first thing was that we come in, scores 0-0. That was it. Like we went out to win the second half. I know we didn't, but we kicked 3 points in that second half, which was some going. You know, UCD, great team, couldn't score. We got 3 points. Great one there by Coleman at the very end just to seal it off. But we knew we needed a performance. The first 10 minutes was big. That's why we went with the breeze. And thankfully, the gamble paid off. So, yeah.
And you're into a final. Again, now it's NUI Galway or UCC. But you won't care who it is because you really care little for reputation, do you?
That's right, yeah. Obviously, we won it 2 years ago, and it was historic, and I was a fresher, I couldn't play in that team, and I was obviously envious of the boys getting to play, and it was unbelievable for the college to win, and now get a chance to play in a Sigerson final. Obviously, you know, we've no silverware here, we haven't won anything yet, so we'll put our heads down, and we'll see who's we get in the final, and we'll take it from there.
A lot will be made of your size. Only about 850 students. You're probably the smallest college in the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup. So what is it that makes you so special? What is it that makes you so good?
I don't know. I suppose St Mary's, it's like a school. You know, we're with each other every day. We're best friends, and I don't know what it is. That's a good question. It is a good question. I don't know what it is, but we die for each other, like we honestly would. And I know we're all from different counties, and people say, you know, it's hard to play boys from different counties and different clubs, but when you're with them at St Mary's, that's all put aside, and you're all one. When you play on that jersey, we're all one. And even like the boys who weren't playing today had just as big as part as playing the winning this game, because just whenever you get a turnover, a score, they're roaring. It gives you a wee boost of energy, which you need, like, and it's just a full team effort. It really is. That's what it's all about, like.
Well done today. Best of luck in the final.
Yeah,
Jarlath O'Byrnes, nice to
yeah.
talk to you. Nice to meet you. We'll talk to you again soon. We'll hear from the manager in just a moment, Daniel Goulding. Hard to disagree with anything that Jarlath said there about the performance, about the college, about the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, fairness to St Mary's and their management team, they're very well drilled. You can see they're a special group of players. They've super time and effort put into this, I'd imagine, and you can just see the way they play on the pitch. Everyone knows their role. They attack in waves, they defend in waves. There's no egos there. Everyone just does their bit. The man in the best position gets the ball and they get their scores. And I think their work rate and discipline today was outstanding given the conditions. And look, they got their scores and they need it. There's some excellent footballers there too, and that always helps.
Daniel, we'll leave it with you for the moment. Thank you very much for joining us today. Let's get a quick word from the manager of St Mary's. That's Gavin. Gavin McKillie. Gavin, congratulations to you and your team. Well done. You must be feeling absolutely over the moon.
I'm feeling wrecked. No, that was some battle out there. Huge battle, but yeah, delighted with that. We knew that was going to take everything that we possibly had to try and overcome this challenge, and fair play to the fellas. They went right to the very end, and that's what it took, and they deserve to be in the Sigerson final now after that performance.
Talk to me about the game plan. You were 7 points to no score up at the break, and look, the wind was a massive factor, but you played really well as well. You got your tactics right and guys looked comfortable on the ball.
Yeah, like they're all good footballers. Like, you know, you have to trust your team whenever they go out there, and we won the toss, and you have to take all the advantages that come your way with that. And 7 points up at the break was, you know, it was required. As you seen at the end, it was going to be required because UCD had some fantastic players, but I can't take away enough from our own team. The effort and honesty that went into that performance there was huge.
What's the secret of St Mary's? Because this is not a shock. I mean, you're consistently good in the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup, and that's really impressive considering how small a college you actually are.
Yeah, well, look, at the start of the year, you know, you've a group of lads in front of you who are at the college every day, and they're there training to be teachers, and you know they're learning their profession, and that's, you know, you can't really sort of bring anybody into the thing. It's not that sort of environment. You know, the huge thing that we keep reinforcing and emphasising is just whenever you put on a St Mary's jersey, you have a responsibility, to the players that have went before that and who have represented the college before. And you can see out there these boys are looking to make their own way with that. And we're back now in a final and a chance at a shot for it. That's basically what we have.
Gavin, well done today. Congratulations to you and your team. I've no doubt you're going to stay around for the weekend and check out NUI Galway and UCC tomorrow.
I might stay there and take the night of it, all right.
Gavin, well done to you. Thank you very much for joining us today. That's it from the first of this weekend's Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-finals. Don't forget, tomorrow, that's Sunday, we've got NUI Galway against UCC. You'll be able to watch that one from 7 o'clock in the evening. The story of the day, the story of the weekend, though, is St Mary's beating UCD in the Electric Ireland Sigerson Cup semi-final. 10 points to 7, the final score. From everyone here in Mallow, goodbye.